to ask Deb to start sharing her screen, and we will be all set to go.
All right. Can you guys see the slide?
Yes.
And I can't see you. I can only see my slides. I can see a few of you. So, anyway, thank you. I am so honored to be here and be a part of Mental Health Month. And I know you guys know that stress is definitely a big part of mental health. And here in healthcare, we experience many types of stress. So, today we're going to look at the Stress First Aid Program. I want to tell you a little bit about this program. Started in the military. The Marines and the Navy use it. If you look at their website, you will still see it there today. And it's an honor to be a part of a program that helps these really strong soldier men and women to help mitigate stress in themselves and to support each other. It's very, very important. So it started there and came across to the Center for PTSD and then over to the Schwartz Center. They said, we need this for healthcare workers. And it was modified then for us. So today, we all know a lot of the stressors that we carry healthcare. So we'll talk just a tiny bit about that because we know a lot about that, right? And then we'll examine the Stress First Aid program and how that can help us. And here's the fun part. We will get to apply these strategies that we talk about. So it's a lot of fun when you do this in person, but we'll also apply them here virtually. Now, we know these types of stress, and there's more, but burnout, particularly, we experience a lot of grief and loss, abandonment, moral distress. Now, that's something you may or may not know about, but it happens in our nursing units and other places when folks know the right way, the right path to take, and something is preventing us from taking that, and it compromises our moral integrity, and that really causes stress. So that's one of the things too that in the medical ethics department we deal with as well. So if you're in a unit and your unit is experiencing something like that, you can contact us and we'll arrange a moral distress consult. But these are a lot of our types of stress. But as healthcare workers, we don't always seek help. And we realize that too. And there's many reasons why we don't, confidentiality, stigma, those types of things. Sometimes we're afraid, but that's a great thing about Stress First Aid and the programs we offer in medical ethics. There's no stigma there. Everything is confidential. Stress First Aid is just a wonderful program that you can do in your department. A big one is time also. I mean, I hear a lot of people say, I don't have time to learn about mitigating my stress. We work with that too. I have one little snippet of a program that lasts about 3 minutes, so we can work with that. Now, I'm going to stop for just a minute. I normally don't read my slides, but for this one, just to tell you exactly what the program is, I'll read a large part of it. It's supportive actions that promote self-care for us. And not only that, but for our coworkers and our peers. Because we want to identify and mitigate or stop that stress before it becomes negative and before it makes us ill or impairs our own health and well-being. So that is in a nutshell what Stress First Aid is. And I don't know about you guys, but as I go through some of the departments in and out of the hospital, I see people sometimes like this lady down in the corner. Maybe she hasn't gotten good sleep or she's stressed. Maybe she has a headache. And we don't want to be that way. We want to be where we are present and supportive of ourselves and our coworkers, where we are making a great team. We're collaborating and communicating with each other. And more than that, we're there for our families. When we leave work, we're able to leave that and be present for our families. So, stress first aid, the concepts of it help us to bridge from those stressors over to the well areas that where we want to be. I'll stop just again for another minute and let you know that the program is not meant to address all issues. If we have something going on that we're already seeing a professional for, that's great. Let's continue doing that. Or if there's a lifelong problem, a personality issue, or complex problem, stress first aid is not meant for that, but it's meant to help us keeping from getting to a stress injury. Now, here in healthcare, I know a lot of us like research, right? We do research and posters and write articles. So there's definitely research behind this. Back in '07, you'll see the reference down at the bottom. They did research and said, the Marines and the Navy use this. So let's research, look into this. And they found that there are 5 factors that help us recover from stress. Safety, of course, first. If you're in a catastrophic event or something high intense, you want to get to safety and help your coworkers. And right along with that is calm, to learn to be calm or to bring a sense of calm. And that helps reduce stress or recover from a stressful event. Connection, you know, being connected and avoiding isolation is so important to make those connections with your coworkers, with people outside of work. And that is a factor in recovering from stress. Self efficacy, we all want to feel confident and motivated and ready to do our jobs, right? So that's a factor. And of course, hope. Where would we be without hope? And so they found that this is the research behind it. And they brought this over, as you can see in the circle. All of those factors are right in the middle there as factors of promoting recovery from adversity and stress. And as we get into stress first aid, those are all things we can learn a lot more about. But surrounding that is checking on ourselves and checking on others, and then coordinating if we need help or we need to help get a coworker some help. So then the stress continuum plays into how do we check on ourselves? Well, these beautiful colors here can show us where we want to be. In the green, we're supported, we're in control, motivated, and ready to work, smiling. Now, I know in our jobs, we are not always that way, right? We are daily, we'll go into the yellow, even the orange. We respond to lots of stressors from home, from our jobs, many different directions, and we juggle those balls. But if we continue to stay in that stressed area, we may have a change in mood, or we may start losing sleep. We may not be able to focus as well, or we might even see physical changes. I know if I'm stressing out and eating a lot of chocolate, I'm definitely going to see physical changes, right? So we want to stay out of that. And in that orange area, we don't really want to be having a loss of control and not feeling like ourselves. So we want to catch our stress when it's in those areas, definitely before it gets to the red area, because that's where we might have things like some substance abuse or functional impairments. So we really want to stay away from that. This is just a little bit bigger to see the stress continuum and how to recognize where we are. Now, not only for ourselves, but we can recognize this in our coworkers too. Now let's look at some of the parts of this continuum. We might be in yellow if we're feeling angry or irritable, but what can we do? Well, first of all, is acknowledge that we're feeling that way. Realize we're in that yellow and we're angry and we want to enact a strategy. I know if I'm feeling irritable, will stop and say, okay, what can I do? A secret that I use is just a deep breath. So, everybody, do this with me. Take a deep breath and then let it out. And do it one more time. Now, I hope that we weren't very stressed here today, but I know even with me, that released just a little bit of tension. And that's something we can do in seconds, no matter where we are. Remember that time thing, how we thought we didn't have time to learn about it or to do it? But when we go in a patient's room or out while we're sanitizing our hands, a deep breath, or when we move from one area of the office to the other, that helps. Now we have another scenario here. What if you're losing sleep and you just can't figure out why that is? Again, acknowledging there must be something underlying that is making us lose sleep. And we can start looking at other strategies that make us feel more grounded. It can be the breathing, could be music, mindfulness, and we want to reflect on that underlying cause. So I'm going to stop for a minute and give you another mindfulness tip. And this I learned from a Marine. It's a breathing tip as well. And what he said was to inhale for 4 counts, hold it for 4, and then release the breath for 4. Continue doing that for about 10 rounds, and we build up stress resistance. And what he told me to do was to do this when I'm driving the car, or when I'm walking down the hall, or when I'm walking to lunch, or when I'm in between waiting for my computer to update. And what he told me was that this would set our bodies up to handle stress when a stressful event happens, like the guy cuts you off in traffic and you're stressed, then we handle that in a more calm fashion. So, another little tip we can use there. Now, we're going to do some more fun things. We just talked about the breathing, and that was the 4 count that we can practice. There are lots of different types of breathing, and I encourage you to look into those. Now, you're probably looking at this slide saying, what is Deb talking about? Shaking and shredding. I want to tell you about a year ago, Lindsay McKinnon, who's a group person in this wellness department, he's just wonderful. We presented Stress First Aid, and she taught me all about shaking and shredding. Now, you guys can feel free to screenshot these things or write down notes, but shredding, put yourself in this situation. You're going home from work and you're so frustrated with something that's happened during the day. You feel so stressed out. Can't quite get rid of it on that drive home. You walk in the door and know you've got plastic bags that you've gotten from the grocery store or somewhere in your drawer. Now, be somewhere where you can get your vacuum and clean this up, but you can shred that paper plastic bag. And that motion helps you release that stress. Now, again, be ready with your vacuum cleaner. Maybe you do a little dance with it and clean that up, but that's shredding, and that will help you reduce it. Now, let's talk about shaking. I want you all sitting where you are, put your hand up like this and start shaking your hand. Now, Lindsay taught me this one too, and she's quite a talented storyteller. She tells a story about an animal who was running from a tiger getting ready to pounce on them, a little gazelle. And the gazelle runs and runs. Now put your other hand up, folks, and start shaking it. The gazelle continues to run, and she leaps behind a rock. And the lion misses her. So she shakes it off. Now you've been shaking. You can stop. Wow, feel that little tingling feel? Took a little bit of stress away, didn't it? And probably made you laugh at me, getting you to shake your hands. But the animals know how to do this. Have you ever watched your dog shake something off? That's animals getting rid of stress, and we can do that too. Now, I don't know if you want to do that at the nursing station or at your desk, but you might, because you might make your coworkers laugh. And laughter is another stress relieving technique. Now, speaking of coworkers, we've been talking a lot about ourselves, stressing ourselves, but it spills over to checking on our peers, all about peer support. Let's check on our self first, which is check you. And of course, we know our self awareness. We want to eat well, hydrate. Have you got your water bottle? I've got me a big water bottle here. That helps. Pace yourself, set boundaries. That's another technique you can use. Pause to decompress. And then, once you are back in the green, check on 2 other colleagues. Now, I want to tell you another colleague here, Kim Butterfield, our director, well, she and our director of EAP worked together to create this second presentation step of stress first aid, the check you and check two. That really enhances our peer support. We can ask how our colleagues are doing. We can listen attentively. Now, I know sometimes we want to be formulating our response while we're listening to someone, but active listening means just that, just listening to what that person is telling us, particularly if they're sharing a stressful moment. Listen to be there for them. And that's another technique to help our peers. Acknowledging their experience is another. Now, definitely, if you're working in a nursing pod, you're all sharing a similar experience. In an office together, you're all sharing a similar experience. So acknowledge that. That strengthens your team. Check you, check two. I'll give you a QR code at the end so that you can access these resources. Now, let's talk again about what we could do, how we can support our peers. What do we do if a coworker seems disengaged, exhausted? Well, we might be able to help them with a little work. We might be able to bring them some lunch or take them some lunch, take them to lunch, a coffee, a treat. Basically, it's all about support, letting them know we're there for them. Sometimes very serious things happen in our world. We might experience being on a unit where a patient passes. And in that case, our coworker might just need to talk or might just need your presence to know they're supported. Life happens as well, and we might have things that happen outside of work. Maybe a coworker is going through a family, a divorce, or something of that nature. Again, support, have lunch, listen attentively, maybe without giving advice, unless they ask us for it. But it really helps, just very simple strategies. Now, I know a lot of times when I'm out and about in the hospital, people say, I know my coworker is having some distress, but I'm not really sure what to say or do. It's beyond that being able to be there for them or bringing them some lunch. So again, our EAP worked with us and brought us some scripts that work. Asking permission and asking what supports might be helpful. Now, if it's the first time you've used a script like this, you might feel a little odd, But I can share with you that I use this with my bosses. I have a wonderful lady that I work with who does our moral distress consults. And sometimes, if I can tell she's a little stressed, I just say, hey, how can I support you today in a genuine way? And it really helps. She may not tell me anything about how to support her, but knowing that I'm there to support her, I think helps. Another script might be to ask what kind of challenges are happening, or maybe what's going well, or maybe how they're feeling. Sometimes that opens up the conversation, and then you can do that attentive listening again. And lastly, assess and offer support. Again, the term support really helps. And you guys feel free to screenshot or contact me, and we'll have more strategies too. You know, the act of listening and being present for someone really came home to me when I watched this little movie Inside Out. And a lot of you have probably seen that with your kids. And this little pink elephant here in the movie, he lost his wagon. It had everything in it that he owned. And he was so sad. Well, of course, happiness came along and she's trying to make him laugh and tell him jokes and all that. And believe me, I've been there too. I like to make people laugh and do things to bring them up, but that doesn't always work. So the emotion of sadness came along. The sadness sat with the little pink elephant and acknowledged that it was very tough that he lost his wagon. And that's what he needed. So sometimes it's just that simple. That may be all we need. Now, I hope today that you guys have picked up some strategies. We've had a little fun. We've breathed and we've shook and we've learned about shredding. We've learned about the stressors and why we don't address them sometimes. But it's okay to address them in ways that work for you. There's lots of strategies. We've learned the evidence behind stress first aid strategies for us and for our coworkers. And lastly, as I conclude, I'll let you know ways that you can implement this in your department. And I'll give you one last strategy. How would you start this in your department? Well, of course, right now, you've already made that step by being here today, thinking about your mental health, being a part of Personify, and recognizing stress and using those tips. Peer support, as we talked about how to support our peers. If your department would like stress first aid, of course, your unit director and your operations manager should be on board with you, supporting you with it, and contact me for the full program, and I'll work on it with you. Some cool ways that departments have done this. One lady did a stress basket and encouraged the folks in her department, if they were stressed, they could take an item depending on what color they were. If they were yellow, they could take an item. If they felt orange, they could take 2 items. Her department had a lot of fun with that. Now, the last strategy I want to leave you with is gratitude. Many of you may know that just simply thinking about something you're grateful for relieves your stress. And it's kind of magical because it's really hard to be stressed and grateful at the same time. If you think about your dog or your favorite plant in your office, or that great dinner you're going to have later, or you had last night, you're grateful for that. It makes you smile, right? And that is a great stress relieving, quick, in seconds technique. And I am grateful that I've been here with you today because I really do enjoy telling folks about stress first aid and the strategies and helping you be less stressed. So let's take that deep breath, release it again, and think about the stress continuum. I hope you're feeling a little bit less stressed than you were at the beginning. Today, I think we've hit all of our objectives. We've definitely talked about the stress, how we can use the program, and we've applied them. This is my contact information, and this is the QR code that I promised to you. That will take you to the medical ethics website where you can see this presentation or a part similar one again, or a shorter one, a little more strategies. You can see the whole check 2 presentation and strategies for that as well. It's all a wealth of information. We appreciate you being here today, and I appreciate you being here. I've been glad to be with you.
Deb, thank you so much. That was wonderful. It's always a treat to hear you speak, and I just appreciate you taking time to be here with us today. I don't see questions. I just see lots of kudos and accolades for you. I did share within the chat some links to some printables from Mental Health America, and I've also shared a link to the Wellness Hub where you can find more information about mental health support. And you can also visit the Ethics Hub on Inside Carilion for more information. Let's see. Just quick reminder that Personify Health is also a great support. You can participate in journeys, challenges. You can set your interest around mental health so that you'll be sure to see information that supports you every day on your mental health journey. Deb did mention the importance of connecting as a great tool to help us recover from stress. So I am looking forward to connecting with you all again next Tuesday when Chaplain Seth McCormick talks to us about the power of friendship. So that's your homework between now and next week is I want you to connect with somebody, whether it's through Check You, Check 2. Maybe you're just connecting with yourself. Maybe you're just thinking about how you can get from orange back to green on that stress continuum. Do whatever you need to do for yourself because, again, you must take care of yourself because we are in the business of taking care of others all the time, but it really starts with you. So, Deb, I want to thank you again and thank you all for joining us today. We had a great crowd, a great kickoff to our May mental health webinar series. So, hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.